We're gonna set up the Kodiak Canvas Flexbow tent. It's the 10x14 Deluxe. Now I've set this thing up multiple times before, and this is probably about the 4th or 5th time. And I made a mistake one time when I set the door up on the wrong side because the front and back look the same, except there is an overhang or a covering. And you better make sure you put it in the right direction, because when you pound all those stakes in the ground, you're not gonna wanna change it and move it around. The fire pit's over here, and Jerry's gonna be camped over here. There's some beautiful mountains over here, but basically I want my front door to be this way. I probably would put it this way, but the way this site's laid out, it's gonna go better facing this way. All right, I'm not gonna bore you with all the pounding of these stakes in the ground, so I'm gonna fast forward it. Now I'm gonna show you everything, how it gets set up. You'll be amazed at how many guy wires this does not have. There's none. All right, let's get into this. Let's check it out and see how fast it goes up. Okay, I thought I got lucky this time and had the opening on the right side because that cover was laying this way, but I was wrong. It's that way, so I gotta turn the tent around. All right, I've confirmed that the front of the tent is facing the correct direction. One more tip is, before you even lay your tent out and you think you know where it's at, clear all the sharp objects, whether they're branches or rocks, whatever it might be, clear them out. I think I did a pretty good job of doing that, so now it's time to start staking this out. Something else to be concerned about is make sure you're not too close to trees, and I'm going to put the stakes down by these trees first, because if I hit a root, I want to be able to adjust it before I go to this side. Okay, one thing I want to ask your opinion on is how to stake your tent down. I've tried several things with tent screws and these heavy duty tent stakes, and I still find that many times this mallet does better. I've been told to use a hammer drill or an impact drill, and I used an impact drill the first time and it's battery operated, but it didn't work very well, but the ground was really cold. If you've found any ways to get tent stakes or screws in the ground better than I do, then leave a comment below, because I'm still testing this and I want to find the best way to get these tent stakes in the ground faster, or tent screws. Another quick tip is make sure you always check to see how many stakes you have before you leave the house. Now, I checked last night and I knew I had enough, but I only have one extra, and this can still be a problem. Because one time in Colorado, in southwest Colorado, it was really cold. It was November, the ground was super hard, and I bent about 4 or 5 stakes. Fortunately, I had enough stakes then, but this time, if I bent this one, I'd be in trouble. This time, the ground is softer. It's the end of September. There's no ice. It's not cold. It's going to be maybe 45 degrees at a low at night and about 80 or 75 during the day. But don't just have enough stakes or one extra. You might want to have 5 or 6 extra. You might really appreciate me giving you this advice someday. Another thing you might be asking yourself is, why did I put so many tent stakes down? The weather forecast for this weekend in Colorado in the late September here is perfect, about 80 degrees, 45 or so for a low, and it looks to be a great weekend. But how many times have you or I thought that everything was going to be great, there's not going to be any problems, and let's just put the stakes in the corners, we'll be fine? I've had enough thunderstorms hit here in Colorado that about took a bunch of tents down, and these tents are very strong and sturdy. But trust me, when you're sleeping at night and something comes up, you want to know that your tent's not going to blow away with you in it. Okay, first thing here is these pieces go on the end, these black pieces, and maybe that's why they call it a flex bow. I never like to walk on this tent because it's nice and pretty so far, but you basically have to get to this middle piece, and I guess you could be on your knees, and I have one foot down. But what I wanted to show you real quick is when you put these pieces actually through this fabric right here, you need to put it into these holes, but you need to make sure that this piece right here, there's a knob. I don't know if you can see it very well, but there's a knob right here, and that needs to be facing down because this vertical pole is going to fit right into that. Another thing I want to tell you about too is this piece will go in and out, and it's important to know that because if you extend this all the way out and then try to get this crossbar down, it's not going to go. So you need to have this pushed in all the way to start with. Now there's a rubber end. This goes on the outside. On the inside, there's no rubber end. What I like to do is to get this fabric spaced out and stretched out as much as possible so when this goes up and it gets really tight, then it won't be bunched. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this overhang here, the porch cover, whatever you want to call it, and I'm going to put it in the middle because that'll allow me to step on something darker. And it'll help me to keep the top of this tent, the white part, more clean. All right, what you want to do is you got to lift these up and you got to put this knob here in this piece in the middle, and then you're going to push down. Now be careful, you can pinch your hands. And now don't let go. You need to take this piece right here and slide it over top all the way to the stop right here. And then it snaps into place so it can't come off. Telling you, this tent is very easy to put together and there's no guy wires. And believe it or not, it'll stand up to most any storm and any storm I've ever seen. All right, honestly, this might be one of the hardest parts right here. You got to put this into this top piece right here first. Now there's some nice suction going on here in the tent, and I've opened a couple doors, but it still doesn't want to move quick. You could maybe open a few more doors. There's this piece right down here that this is going to slide into, and this can be more challenging than you think. All right, first one. The first side's easy. Let's check out the other side. I just made a massive mistake. This is for all you watching at home. I told you to make sure this knob was on the bottom, and I wasn't paying attention. I had it right on that side, but not this side. And you can't just flip it around. You have to take it apart, pull this center crossbar up, and then turn it, put it back together. Okay, now we flipped it over. Don't make that mistake again. This is honestly why I like to come out here and set these up and do these tent reviews, because I make mistakes and I want to keep you from making the same mistake. What did I tell you about the second side being harder? It really is. All right, the tent's up. I just got to put this overhang on and I'm ready to go. I'm going to reposition the camera so you can see it though. Okay, let's put these on. And what I do is I put this top on first and then I put this rope over top. And there's a way to do these knots to make your life a lot easier. I'll have some information in the description below to show you how to do these knots. Now what I like to do is I like to put these legs more straight up in the air because this isn't a really tall overhang, and so I want to get it as high as possible. And the thing you want to do is this pole comes out straight out, but these guy lines, they need to go at an angle, and then leave yourself some room because you want to be able to attach this back up on the cord here, because there's this piece on the end you just cinch up here or connect, and then you can tighten it up, but you need a little extra. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this about where I think I want it, and I'm going to take this out to the side, and I'm going to leave myself about 2 foot here of extra rope, and I'm going to put it down, and that looks like a good spot right here. All right, there we go. Now I'm not going to tighten this real tight yet. I just want to do it enough so I can get the other side and then cinch it up more when I'm done. I'm going to straighten this up a little bit, tighten this other side. The thing I want you to see here, all you do on this is you can take it off. There's a little notch right here, and you just go as tight as you want and just hook it on. You're done. Super simple. Okay, let's open this thing up, air it out, and take a look inside. All right, let's look inside real quick. There's 2 doors here, or 1 door, 2 windows, and then there's an identical door and window on the back side. It's really nice, as any tent has. You can just roll this up and secure it at the bottom. Now while we're here, I want to show you the front door. Let's unhook this. And there's another almost identical window here. Okay, let's look at the back side of the tent now. Okay, same thing. There's a window here and a door and a window there. I made one mistake right here. There's something sharp sticking up, and I can see it's already making a little dent. So I want to go underneath the tent here if I can and see if I can see what this is. Okay, so instead of going out the front door, we're going to go out the back door, and we're going to see if I can get that sharp piece out from under the tent. Okay, I'm going to have to pull these stakes up real quick and get to that sharp piece. See if we can just do 2 stakes rather than a bunch. All right, this is for everybody at home watching. Don't make the same mistake I make. Yep, it's a rock. Pretty good one too. How did I not see that? Maybe I should do a better job of checking underneath the tent the first time. Well, there you have it. I'd like to say I'm perfect all the time, but I'm not. But the great thing about not being perfect is you get to see the mistakes in action. Because I told you earlier in this video, I already made the mistake one time of putting the door on the wrong side, and it was so cold and so hard to get those stakes in the ground that I wasn't going to go pull those stakes out. So I lived with that covering on the wrong side on that one trip to Miramonte when Mike and I were fishing here in Colorado in November a couple years ago. So in this video, I made 2 mistakes. I had this crossbar facing up, or the knob facing up rather than down, so I had to redo that. You saw that. And then the other problem was I had a big sharp rock in the middle of my tent, which somehow I didn't see. I just want to add here that this tent is so sturdy, and even though there's no guy lines except for what's holding that cover or that top on the front down, this thing has been through 2 big windstorms. One was that massive windstorm at 11 Mile Reservoir here in Colorado, and I'm telling you, it was blowing like crazy. It wasn't a thunderstorm, but it would have taken down a lot of tents. The other one was at the Miramonte Reservoir, and I think it was last year in August, and a massive thunderstorm came through. Lightning, I think some light hail, definitely a lot of wind, a lot of rain, and we were losing 2 tents. In fact, they were going down, and we were out in that weather trying to get those stabilized because one was a really big tent, so the wind was just catching it and taking it down. But this tent, this Kodiak Canvas Flexbow tent, and Mike's Kodiak Canvas 12 by 12 cabin lodge tent, man, those things were solid and didn't move at all. And we were sitting in our truck at one point because the lightning was pretty bad, and we were watching the tents, and the little cheap ones from the box stores, they were just all over the place. These Kodiak Canvas tents were barely moving. So if you like what you see, I mean, I strongly recommend the Kodiak Canvas tents. I love them. And Mike's got a 12 by 12. I've got the 10 by 10 cabin lodge tent and the Flexbow, and he's got 2 smaller Flexbows. But if you have any recommendations or comments, leave them below because I'm always wanting to learn, because as you can see, I just made some mistakes today, but that's okay because you get to see it and hopefully not make the same mistake. Well, thanks for joining me here in Colorado. I'm out near Denver and Colorado Springs, but I'm up in the mountains away from everybody. But watch for a lot more camping videos coming out soon. Now get out in the mountains and stay safe.